order in the court.
Hi everyone, Paralegal Man Sam here, and welcome to my channel. Real quick before we get started, I have to give everyone a disclaimer. I'm a paralegal, as the name says, not a lawyer. As such, I'm not allowed to, nor will I be giving any legal advice on this channel. I'm going to be outlining, discussing, and explaining various legal topics to give you a better understanding of how our legal system in America works. Be sure to like and subscribe if you find the videos informative, and if there's any topics you want me to cover, make sure to drop them in the comments below. All right, let's do this. Hi everybody. Today's topic is, what is a federal indictment? Now, there's not really that much that goes into getting a federal indictment, so I'm going to break down the few aspects of it for you so you have a better understanding of the process. Also, there's a couple things that I think you may find interesting that happens during the process of getting an indictment. So, a federal indictment is a formal accusation against someone that is suspected of committing a serious criminal offense. This only applies to felony offenses and only offenses that are punishable by death or imprisonment for more than 1 year. Indictments are always issued by a grand jury after the grand jury has reviewed evidence and determined that there's probable cause that a crime was committed. Now, for the grand jury to determine probable cause, the members need to decide through looking through the facts and the evidence presented whether they feel that a federal crime has probably been committed by the person accused. Now, that's according to the Handbook for Federal Grand Jurors. The grand juries themselves are 16 to 23 members, and they don't have to decide unanimously. There has to be at least 16 members present, and 12 or more of those members must concur to issue a federal indictment. Now, since the grand jury determines whether there's probable cause and not guilt, the standard of proof is much lower than the standards for criminal trials. If the jury does decide that a federal crime has probably been committed, that's when they'll issue the indictment, and formal charges will follow after that. Now, every indictment does have to have a few things. It has to contain a plain, concise, and definite written statement of the essential facts signed by the prosecuting government attorney, as well as the accused person's identity or description and the statute, rule, or regulation that they may have violated. Those are the basic facts that outline what an indictment is. Like I said before, there's really not that much that goes into it. There are a couple of things that I think you might find interesting regarding the process, though. One of the most interesting things is that defense attorneys are not allowed in the courtroom when the jury is in session. The only people allowed in the courtroom are the attorneys for the government, witnesses, an interpreter if needed, and a court reporter. And those are the only people allowed in the courtroom, nobody else. Defense attorneys are allowed to be present outside for press conferences, interviews, different things like that, but they're not allowed to actually enter the courtroom when jury is in session. Like I said before, indictments are pretty easy to get. In fact, there's a former New York appellate judge that said a prosecutor could get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. Now, that basically tells you about how easy it is to get an indictment. Now, the main reason it's so easy is because prosecutors are only going to be calling for a grand jury when they're confident in the strength of their cases. If it's not an open and shut case, they're probably not going to tempt the jury. All right, that breaks down what an indictment is for you. Like I said, it's not a big process. It's not really hard to get an indictment. I hope this video has helped you understand a little bit more about how an indictment is issued. If you want to do some research yourself, you're going to want to look up Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure 7, and that's going to tell you word for word everything you need to know. All right, everybody, I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. And as always, if there's any topics that you would like me to cover for future videos, make sure to drop them in the comments. All right, everybody, have a great day.